Well, hello, Nativity Bible heads. It is Dr. Wayne, and it is time for Bible Study Wednesday. We did not have a posting last week. It's the first Wednesday of November. This is for the second Wednesday of November, the 7, 8, 9, 10th? Does that make today the 10th? If Sunday was the 7th, and today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 7, 8, 9. Yeah. November 10th. So we are going to start a section on the book of Hosea today. Now remember, in our teaching through the Bible, we paused in after we finished 2 Kings chapter 15, so that we could take a look at some of the prophets that were ministering, preaching during this time. And they are prophets that our writer doesn't mention in 2 Kings. So we took on the book of Amos because Amos' ministry was during the reign of King Jeroboam II of the northern kingdom Israel, which we covered in chapter 15 of 2 Kings. And now we take a look at Hosea because his ministry started during the latter years of King Jeroboam II and continued on a little past where Amos was. So they're a little bit of contemporaries. One of the main differences, though, between Hosea and Amos is their outlook. Amos was a Judean. He was from the southern kingdom. He ministered to his preaching affected the north. He was mainly against or about what was going on in the northern kingdom, Israel. Hosea is a northerner, and his ministry appears to overlap with the kings that followed up Jeroboam II in the northern kingdom, and also through some other kings in the southern kingdom. It looks as though what has happened with the book of Hosea is that his fans, students, took his writings and possibly reworked them at a later time because following in his tradition, in his teachings, in the way that he was putting out his message, they were trying to make it applicable for a later time and with a bigger outlook. So let's start with Hosea chapter 1, where we simply have the word of the Lord that came to Hosea, son of Beeri, in the days of King Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah of Judah, and in the days of King Jeroboam, son of Joash of Israel. Now, these kings that are mentioned, Uzziah comes to power during Jeroboam's reign, and this Jotham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, all of those were post Jeroboam of the northern kingdom Israel, but there were a few kings that reigned like in a period of like I don't know, like 3 or 4 years. There were like 6 kings in the northern kingdom, and so they don't get all enumerated here. Now let's go back to, so when it says that the word that came to Hosea, the word Hosea, the name Hosea, literally means salvation. Okay, salvation. Sometimes it's spelled Hosea, but it basically means just simply salvation. Son of Beeri. Okay, I know it looks like Beeri. Okay, so here's the thing. In Hebrew, anytime we have 2 vowels together, okay, there are no diphthongs. What's a diphthong? A diphthong is when, in English, we have a diphthong is when we have 2 different vowels together, and we elide them. So we would say 2 E's as E, right? Well, they don't. They say each one of them separately, and there is no E sound with the letter E. It's eh, and so there's a break in the middle. Ba-eri. Okay, I'm saying that because that's because we're going to see that come up again here. So unless you want to just call Hosea the son of Beeri. Ba-eri. How do you like that? In the days of King Hosea. Okay, so this definitely puts us, this is how we know. How do we know when Hosea ministered? Right here, okay? This tells us, gives us a snapshot of it. Also, what he says, right? Verse 2. When the Lord first spoke through Hosea, the Lord said to Hosea, "Go, take for yourself a wife of whoredom, and have children of whoredom, for the land commits great whoredom by forsaking the Lord." Okay, all right, whoredom. This is a word that describes a woman of questionable repute, shall we say? One who we don't know that she was a prostitute, just simply that somebody who, a promiscuous woman. All right, all right. This is very symbolic, and I'm going to take off my jacket because the air conditioning just went off. Ooh-wee, and it's going to get warm in here. Okay, so, yes, so a wife of whoredom, have children of whoredom. So he's being told that he's going to be fathering children that he might not necessarily be the father, okay? So this is what we're dealing with here. For the land commits great whoredom by forsaking the Lord. This is a motif that we have in Scripture, whereby the prophet is asked to take an action in his life that is metaphorically, symbolically tied to what God is actually doing through the to the people, through the people, what is happening between the people and God. This is not unusual, okay? There was a tradition whereby, remember in some of Jesus speaking, where he would say that something about this land, for you are a people of, oh gosh, I can't think of the words exactly, but promiscuous generation, adulterous generation, when Jesus would speak about the people of this adulterous generation, the breakdown of the relationship between the people, Israel, the tribes of Jacob, and the relationship with the Lord, it was supposed to be something like a marriage. And when the people became unfaithful, the metaphor got used all the way to the bank with regard to, okay, well then that means that that there's been a breach in the relationship. There's been an adultery committed. Anytime the people would go after other gods, there would be an analogy made that they are being adulterous or somehow unfaithful, if you will, to the Lord their God. So this is what's going on. So when Hosea is being told to take of himself a wife of whoredom and have children of whoredom, he's basically saying, okay, you, Hosea, I want you to put yourself in the same position that I'm in. God is saying. And so, verse 3, so he went and took Gomer, daughter of Diblaim, not Diblaim. Remember, there are no diphthongs in Hebrew, although I'll say them like that sometimes, but just gives me an opportunity to teach a little bit about the Hebrew. Diblaim, and she conceived and bore him a son. Okay. And the Lord said to him, name him Jezreel. Not Jezreel, 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 Jezreel. For in a little while I will punish the house of Jehu for the blood of Jezreel, and I will put an end to the kingdom of the house of Israel. On that day, I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. So, what is going on here? The valley of Jezreel is a very lush, precious valley. It's a real place. Lots of historical things happen. A lot of times you hear people pronounce it as Jezreel, okay? But that's where, remember when Jehu, Jehu, had his bloody coup, and that's where that started with him. There were other things that happened in the valley of Jezreel. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing or a good thing. It just means that it is a momentous thing, a big thing, something that marks the beginning of something cataclysmic. It's a big deal, okay? A big deal. It's not necessarily good or bad, but in this case, it is that. The word Jezreel literally means God sows or God plants, okay? The idea of God starting something from whatever this event is, usually an ignominious event or bloody event. Anyway, I will put an end to the house of the kingdom of Israel. On that day, I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. So it's like in this place where these momentous things happen, guess what? It's going to happen again. Remember, Hosea is talking about the same thing that Amos was talking about, and that is that due to the unfaithfulness of the people, that God was going to put an end to the nation, and it would be deserved. It would be considered circumstances that were drawn upon themselves, okay? She conceived again, verse 6, and bore a daughter. Then the Lord said to him, name her Lo-Ruhamah, for I will no longer have pity on the house of Israel or forgive them. So Lo-Ruhamah, the lo means not, okay? The Ruhamah means to pity, to love, that kind of thing. Pity, mercy, we have it translated in different ways, but again, the name is symbolic. Remember, the life of the prophet is supposed to echo the experience of God. And so in naming this daughter Lo-Ruhamah, the prophet is experiencing this, okay, what God was with regard to Israel. Yeah, Israel, if you can imagine God talking, yeah, Israel, they're my people, but something's got to be done here. I'm not going to have pity on them too much longer. So this is the perspective of the prophet with regard to his daughter, the same way God is being with the northern kingdom, Israel. Okay? Verse 7, but I will have pity on the house of Judah, and I will save them by the Lord their God. I will not save them by bow or by sword or by war or by horses or by horsemen. And a lot of scholars and exegetes that deal with this feel like this sentence might be a later addition by a pro-Judah, southern kingdom prophet that like added it in because it kind of doesn't really fit. It doesn't really fit what the major thing is going on here with what Hosea's message is about. Because why would he say, oh, sucks for you, but oh, as far as this other game, you know what, they're going to be fine. But they're not going to be fine. They're going to get the same judgment. Okay, anyway, verse 8. When she had weaned Lo-Ruhamah, she conceived and bore a son. Then the Lord said, go, name him Lo-Ami, for you are not my people, and I am not your God. Oh. So a boy, a girl, and a boy. And this one, the word, remember, Lo means not, Ami, people. The E ending is the my, okay, not my people. For you know, and I am not, remember, covenantal language historically says over and over again, for you are my people, I am your God, and you are my people. This is specifically the opposite of those sentiments. You are not my people, I am not your God. I am not your I am. I like the if you look at there's a footnote in my version that that literally says, I am not, I am for you. I am. Oh yeah, exactly. That's the Hebrew verb, first person to be. I am. That's also the covenantal name for God. Okay, so I am not. I am for you. I'm not the I am. Remember when Moses asked, "Who shall I say sent me?" What was the response? The response was, I am who I am. Ehyeh asher ehyeh. So that's what he's saying here. I am not ehyeh for you. I am not I am for you. This is a blatant withdrawal of the intimacy extended to Moses through the revelation of the divine name. And it's like, God is like pulling back. It's like, okay, I'm done with you, kind of a thing. This is not a final kind of a withdrawal. It is merely okay, here's the circumstances that you brought upon yourself, okay? Verse 10. Yet the number of the people of Israel shall be like the sand of the sea, which can be neither measured and nor numbered. And in the place where it was said to them, you are not my people, it shall be said to them, children of the living God. So, what do we have going on in this verse? So, number one, there was a promise to Abraham that his descendants would be numbered like the sand of the sea. Okay, so this is a recognition of the fact that, oh, yeah, even though there's a rejection of the covenantal promise, what there is not is a rejection of the promise of being totally free, totally the promise of God being available to the Israelites. The promise to Abraham has never been revoked. Yes, you will still be great in number, okay? There's nothing that's going to stop that, okay? But for now, we gotta, so have you ever heard this happen in a relationship where like, let's just take a break. Can we take a break? I think we're on a break. A break is a breakup. Yes, it is, but it doesn't have to be permanent and typically is not. But a break is a kind of breakup, and that's what's going on. God is saying, let's take a break. We're going to take a break from this, and well, I'll get back with you. And we're going to see what you learned about all this, right? Okay. You're not my people. It shall be said to them, children of the living God. So remember, we had just gotten the message had been that they will be children of whoredom, right? But there is always this little word of promise, okay? In spite of all of the judgment and the coming down onto people, which the prophet does, there's always this ability, this attempt to raise up and to to state that there's hope, that it's not a final thing, but that there's something to be learned from the circumstances that have come upon, okay? There we go. Let us go on. Verse 11, now here's of this word of hope. The people of Judah and the people of Israel, southern kingdom, northern kingdom, people of Judah shall be gathered together, and they shall appoint for themselves one head, and they shall take possession of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. Okay, so great shall be the day of, remember it's a symbolic thing. The word Jezreel means the Lord plants, the Lord sows, and the great shall be the day of, and this is the prophet is playing on this motif and playing it forward, and he's calling it the day of Jezreel, the day of the Lord's planting. So this punishment which is about to take place, it's very clear that in naming it the day of Jezreel, the day of the Lord, so it's the Lord sowing something. There's something being planted here. There's something that's being initiated here. There's something divine in it. It's not all bad news. So this is where we go. Look at this verse of chapter 2. Say to your brother, Ami, and to your sister, Ruama. Okay. We're not gonna go on today. I'm gonna cut it off, and we'll continue it with chapter 2 next week. But do take the time to read chapters 1, and then next time I'll probably cover 2, 3, 4, something like that. I don't know. I don't have all of this planned out ahead of time because I don't want to be too onerous, if you will. So hopefully you get just enough that's like, oh, I'm gonna go read that. When I was, before I went to seminary, before I studied this stuff, I was very curious about this stuff. It's like, what is this talking about? What is this talking about? I can remember reading the Bible through a couple of times, and I remember, chapters and books will go on. It's like, what the heck is this about? What is this? What is it all about? This is my invitation to you. You do that too. Read it. Let the questions come to your mind. Let them be something that's valuable to you, to motivate you to want to get into it. I guarantee you it will transform your experience of God. It will transform your experience of being one of God's people in the world, and it will definitely aid to your sense of dignity as a Christian. I have no doubt. So that is it for Bible Study Wednesday today. I shall see you next week.